let me repeat, this is going to be 38 and 39, books never written. And we're going to start very basic. Now that you've done factoring, what we want to do is reduce these. You can never, if I had a 4 times an 8 CJ times a 12, and I had like, and this is 6, 12, 6, I could start reducing right away. And 6 goes into that, 3, 4, and 2 goes into those, 2, 3, and so on. And I could keep on reducing. But you cannot do that when you've got a plus or a minus. It's only when there's multiplication together. So we've got to do these a different way. So again, only when it's multiplication. So what we're going to do, starting with the number 1, we're going to factor out the numerator and factor out what we can on the denominator. Is there anything that comes out of that numerator? A 2 is in common. In fact, I'm going to keep on going on this one. 2, which is, and what's left is x squared minus 9. And by the way, before, well, yeah, I'll go ahead and do this one. And on the bottom one, what can be factored out of the bottom binomial?
4.
A 4. So we've got x plus 3. Well, out of this 2, 4, top binomial, bottom binomial, one of them can be factored again. Who knows which one? The top. Very good. In fact, so I don't write it all over again. I'm just going to cross this out, and I'm going to factor it again into, it's a difference of perfect squares. So x, to get a negative, positive, negative, and 3, 3. Then, again, the whole object is, do we see something on top that matches with something on the bottom? The x plus 3. So you can cross them out. And, again, everything is multiplied together now. Does the 2 and the 4 reduce?
Yes.
So we can cross that out and put this over 2. Well, that's it. So your final answer, the only thing that is left is, do we have room for the answer? I hope so. Is x minus 3, and I'm thinking they're going to leave, well, maybe not. X minus 3 on the top and just a 2 on the bottom. I think that's it. And you've simplified it. And is that answer there? Yes. So it is the letter T. So we can cross this one off, and we're done. So wherever you see a 1 at the top, and on these you really want to go ahead and fill this out so you make sure that it makes sense. Then we'll do another easy one, and then we'll get right into hard. So we'll look at the number 2. And now that we know what to do, I'm not going to rewrite the whole thing. I'm going to factor as I go. So, well, yes, I guess I have to. So is there anything that comes out of the number 2 in the numerator? A 3. So we've got a number 2, a 3 comes out, and no x, and you're left with x squared minus 8x plus 12.
Excuse me.
Uh-huh.
On the answer sheet, where's the answer x minus 3 over 2?
Right here.
Where?
X minus 3. You should be on 110.
That's fine. Okay.
If the staple is right here, this is our first page.
Yeah.
Right, but that's a good question. All right. Then, before I even go to the bottom, am I able to factor this out again? Yeah, so I'm going to do it maybe right below it and have my new fraction line be here. So it's going to be 3. And how are we going to get an x squared? X. Then, because there's no number in front, I just need to look at the back number. 2 numbers that will sum to give us 12. Oh, I'm sorry, 2 numbers that will sum to give us 8. And you're right. 6 times 2 is 12. And they sum to, how are we going to get a negative 8? Both signs have to be what? Negative, negative. So I'm going to cross this out. We're done with that. All right, then the one below it, I can't take a number out. I can't take an X out. So this time I have a front number. So this is one where I've got to go over here and go 2 times 6, 2 times 6. The sign, so this is a real practice on all of the different factoring. And take the difference to get a what? What is that number? 1. Take the difference and get a negative 1. Okay, so this might, on the 6 is going to be a little trial and error. What's the only way that I can get a 2?
2 and 1.
Is 2 and 1. And let's try on this. What do you want to try 3 times 2? I think this is going to work. Okay, so do you see a combo that's going to give us, when we do the products, a difference of 1? I do.
31.
Very good. So 2 times 2 is the 4. 1 times 3 is the 3. And I need more negatives, so it probably has to go with the 4. All right. So now we can go ahead and that only has to be factored 1 time. So it's going to be here. It's going to be the 2. Oh, let's get our front numbers. 2x times 1x. So 2x times x. And then 2 goes with the 2. 2 goes with the 2. And the 1 on the inside goes with the 3 on the inside. And again, we need a negative 4. So where should the negative go? In the first parentheses or the second? The second, because this, it would be negative 2 times 2 would be that negative 4. And then this is our positive. Is that right? Did I do that right? Yeah. And that comes to our negative 1. Okay. Then you're going to look at it. Is there something that you can cross out on top and bottom?
X minus 2.
The x minus 2. And I think then this is going to be your final answer. And there's no room, so some of them we're going to have to, I'll just put P for it's on the paper. Okay. All right. So let's see if we can find that answer. Is it the letter A? Okay. So it's the letter A. So the number 2 gets the letter A. We're going to go to, I think I ran off too many of these. All right. So let's go ahead and look at the number 3. So what can come out in the numerator on number 3? 5x. And what's left is x minus 5. Very good. So that cannot be factored again. Right. This one I have a feeling it can be factored again. So I think what I'm going to do is actually start it over here. So what can come out is a 3 and a what? 3 and 1x. And what's left is, who knows what's left? X squared minus what? Minus 25. So again, that's 3x times x squared is our 3x cubed, and 3x times negative 25 is our negative 75. But can this x squared minus 25 be factored again? Yes, so that's why I'm going to bring it back under if I kind of see it in advance. So I'm going to put the 3x here. Oops. And how are we going to factor out x squared minus 25? Is that the difference of perfect squares?
X minus 5 plus
There you go. So I'm going to put the x minus 5 last because of this one on top. So x plus 5, x minus 5. Okay, and then who thinks they can tell what we can cross off? What makes a 1? The x minus 5 can come off, and there's something else that can come off. The x. So our final answer is, and this one I have room to put it, is going to be, the only thing that's left is the 5 over the 3 times x plus 5. And is that answer there? Yes. So that is the letter U. And so everywhere you see a 3, put the U. And that's about it. Okay, we will do this. I really want to get to the hard ones, but there's an element in this one that we need to do. So, who thinks they know right away how to factor out the top? There's nothing to pull out. So I'm going to try to make it into binomial right away. X, it's a negative, so who knows what the signs have to be? Positive and a negative. And then, because it's a negative, this it's got to be the difference of the factors of 24. Who thinks they know 2 factors of 24? That'll give you a 5 if you subtract. What did you say? 8 and 3. There you go. So, and I need more positives, so the bigger number has got to go with the positive. So it's going to be plus 8 and minus 3. So positive 8 times negative 3 is negative 24. And the inside is positive 8 minus 3, and it comes to that positive 8x. And then now, here's the problem. Before I write down that bottom number, do you see something that's wrong with this 3 minus x and this x minus 3? They're switched. I cannot cross them off because this is a negative x, this is a positive x. This is a negative 3, that's a positive 3. Who thinks they know how you can cure that problem? Factor out a negative 1. Factor out a negative 1. So I'm going to put a negative. Right here I'll put a negative 1 and then we'll worry about it later. So negative times what would give me a negative 3? Negative times a negative 3 would give me that positive 3. And then negative 1 times a positive x would give me that negative x, such that if I multiplied it through, I'd have negative 1 times x is that negative x, negative 1 times negative 3 is that positive 3. And now that you see it like this, is there something you can cross out on top and bottom? You can cross out the x minus 3. And your final answer, who happens to know what it is? Yeah, but where would I put the negative 1, do you think? I'm just going to put it in the front. So I just have this divided by 1 is just 8 plus, x plus 8, and the whole thing then is going to be negative. Is that answer there? And it is right here. And so that's going to be the letter R. So the letter number 4 gets the letter R. CJ, boys. All right. I'm looking at this number 5, actually a number 6. Who thinks they know what's wrong, Anthony, with the number 6? I'm sorry, the number 5, the numerator. It does.
You can't pull out anything.
Well, you can, actually. What do you think you're going to pull out? Well, one's in everything. You normally don't want a negative in front. So again, we're going to pull out a -1. So let's go ahead and pull out, let's pull out a -1. Okay, boys, somebody took silly pills. All right. So -1, and then I've got x squared minus 8x, and then all these signs change, positive 16. But before I even go to the bottom, in fact, I might separate it and then put it all together. I'm going to take the second one here. I'll just do it a little bit different because I can see that I'm probably going to have to factor that twice. No? Yes, I can. Nope, I won't be able to. Never mind. Okay. But this one, can I factor that again?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this looks like a perfect trinomial, such that if it's 4 and you double it, it'll come to that 8. So it's going to be negative. Who knows what both of these parentheses are going to be? X minus, they both have to be the what? Same sign, and they're both going to be what?
Yeah,
negative. X minus 4, x minus 4. Such that -4 times -4 is our positive 16. And if I take the inside -4x and the outside -4x, it comes to our new -8x here. Then on the bottom, so I'm going to kind of just get rid of that. All right. Then on the bottom, what can I pull out in the denominator? X squared. And if I pull out 2 x's, what do we have left? 1x minus what? Minus 4. Then can you see anything that's going to cross off? X minus, and you can pull out one of them. 1 and 1. So our answer is going to be the negative x minus 4 over x squared. And I'm hoping that's it. And it's the same thing as which letter? It's the same thing as this one. The letter L. Okay, over the x squared. So it is the letter L. All right, so this is the letter L. All right, boys, let's settle down. Because I don't want to have to spread you all over the room, but I will. All right, then this one, I have the feeling we're going to have to pull out the negative on both of them because they're sort of backwards. I guess we could do it backwards. Or do we have any that are backwards here? No. There's none that are backwards. So I presume I'm going to start by on the number 6. So if I pull out a negative, because we usually don't have a negative x. In fact, can I pull out a negative and an x? Yes. So I'm going to pull out a negative x on the top, and then I'm going to switch it around as I go. So negative x times what would give me a negative x to the third back? An x squared. And then a negative times a what? CJ, I need you to focus. Okay, we're on number 6. I'm right here. Okay, I'm right here. So on this one, because you're constantly talking, you're getting off every single time. So on this one, negative times what would give me a positive 49? A negative 49. So I'm going to switch it around as I go. And then I'm also going to pull out a negative on the bottom one, but there's no x. So I'm going to pull out just a negative 1. And on the bottom, then I'm going to switch it around as I go. So all of these signs change. This negative x squared becomes a positive x squared. The negative 6x becomes a positive 6x. That positive 7 becomes a negative 7. And without, well, I think I have to rewrite the whole thing anyway. So what happens with a negative divided by negative? It becomes positive. And then I'm just going to rewrite this one. Can this x squared minus 49 still be factored? Yes. Into what times what?
X minus 7x plus 1.
They're very good. And then, oh, and I can't forget my x. Cannot forget that. Then, is this trinomial on the bottom factorable? So I need 2 factors of 7 such that the difference is 6. Who knows what it's going to be? 7 and 1. So x, 7, 1. And I need more positives. So is the positive going to be next to the 7 or next to the 1? Next to the 7. And then can you see anything that's going to cross out? X plus 7. And our final answer is x minus 7 over x minus 1. These aren't that bad. Then we're going to take a really big one. Let's see. I think I ran off too many pages. Alrighty, so let me look at our time. Okay, so let's look at the number 12. I've got AB, the higher exponent. I don't have to switch anything around. We'll probably do 12 and 9, and you're going to do the rest of them. So number 12, what could we pull out in the numerator? Very good. 10 a squared b. And if we pull out, the 10 is going to be gone. If I pull out 2 squares, what's going to be left? How many a's? 1a, and the b's gone. Plus, on the next, oh, we're pulling out everything. So is nothing left here?
Just 1.
Just 1. Very good. Over, what can we pull out of the numerator? I mean the denominator.
2ab.
Yeah, 2ab cubed. All right. Then we got to figure out what's left. So what's left is what? Help me out. What's left on this one? 2a. The b is gone. Plus 1. I hope I did this one right. It doesn't look right. But we'll forge ahead. Now, can this 10 over 5, the 10 over 2 be reduced? So that becomes a 5. Can these a's on the outside be reduced? Where am I going to have more a's left? On the top or bottom? How many am I going to have left? Just one single a, so I'm going to take that off. Okay. And on the b's, where am I going to have more left? On the bottom, how many are we going to have left there? 2. So we change that to, we'll just change it to 2. I should have made that neater. So it looks like it should be 5a over b squared. Hope I did this right. And then the rest of it could not be canceled. And I'm hoping that's it. So 7 through 12 is over here. And is that answer there? Yes. The letter S. And so that was the number 12. Again, you can't just cross out ones. You have to cross out the whole parentheses, the entire binomial, or none of the binomial. So that, and I'm not going to rewrite that. Just put it on your paper. It was on the paper. Okay. So this is number 12. And we'll box that off. And then we're going to go up and do the number 9. See if there's a lot of stuff going on there. So the number 9. Oh, there's nothing to pull out in the parentheses, but I should pull something out of this bottom one. Who knows what? A negative. So let's see if we can do some canceling and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and start the number 9. So I'm going to pull out right away and just say that I did a negative, and this is going to switch to an A minus 6, because that was so easy to do, because the signs changed. It was a negative A, now it's positive. It was a positive 6, now it's a negative 6. Then, can we reduce 4 over 28? So it's going to be, what, blank over 7, because we're going to have some stuff left, I think. No, we're not. I better put 1 over 27, 1 over 7. Okay. Then, what about A to the 3rd, A to the 4th? Where are we going to have more A's? On the bottom, how many are left on the bottom? 1A. Then we've got B to the 4th, B to the 4th. What happens with that? Cancels. We'll do that there. And then, can we factor this top trinomial? Let's try. So A, one has to be a positive, one has to be a negative, and we need more positives. We need a difference of 1. What are 2 factors of 42 with a difference of 1? 6 and 7. And we need more positives, so the 7 should go with which one? With the positive. And then on the bottom, we had that A minus 6. So, what canceled out? Oh, and I forgot one big thing. I forgot my negative. So the whole thing should be a negative. And I don't have a lot of room, but I'll go ahead and put it. So the final answer is negative, and I can take away the 1 because there's a factor left. So A plus 7 over 7A. And it is right here. So it gets the letter J. Are these as hard as you thought? No, they're not. I know what you're thinking. You just don't want to say it. Okay, so your job is to do number 10, 11, 7, and 8. And we'll call it a day. Tomorrow in the library, I think we're just going to do the back page. Okay, so this is the same thing. In fact, I tried to do it strategically where this is Pizzazz 1110. The one you're going to do tomorrow is Pizzazz 109. Guess which one is the harder one? The 110. So I did the harder ones with you, so these should be pretty, hopefully simple to do, okay? So that's your job in the library tomorrow. So you guys can begin. And we'll worry about that the last page on Friday. Yep, we could do it. Okay, girls and boys, you may begin. Oh, did I put my letter? 9. The 9 gets J.